First up is Ron Kamen. I'm dropping his information into the chat box right now. Ron is the founder and CEO of Earthkind Energy Consulting. He has decades of experience in leadership in catalyzing exponential change in sustainable energy adoption with governments, nonprofits, and businesses. And that makes him the ideal speaker to give us the view from 30,000 feet and the big overview of what's motivating all of these changes. Ron, I believe I have just unmuted you.
There we go. Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine. So I'm going to share the screen and you can take it away from there.
Thanks so much, Tim, and thank all of you folks for the opportunity to speak with you tonight. And first, heartfelt prayers and thoughts with all of you, everyone who's struggling, and especially our healthcare workers and our essential folks who are out there keeping everything going while we're socially isolating to basically save those that we can. And to everyone who's lost somebody in my heart's heartfelt prayers. All right, well, when we do come out of this, or as we come out of this, clearly financially, we've all been impacted very dramatically. We spent 30 years representing customers through the clean energy development processes. We're going to do an overview right now about energy opportunities and how to save money. That's what I've been doing with municipalities, with businesses, with nonprofits, with co-ops and condos, and all sorts of folks for over 3 decades now. My first question to each of you and all your businesses is this, is how much money do you currently spend on energy? And specifically, energy is electricity, heating, and transportation. And not just you, but also if you happen to have a business where you have tenants or employees, how much money do they spend, especially on transportation? And we'll talk about why that's important in just a moment. So first, everybody's unique. Everybody has your own energy profile. You're spending different amounts of money. And my question to you is add up your spending every month, every year on electricity and heating and cooling and on transportation and maintenance. And then know that you can take that number and save 10 to 30%. And there's a lot of ways of doing it. We're going to talk about that in a moment. And then some of my colleagues are going to tell you to dive in a little bit deeper on a couple of different opportunities. Tim? So first, you can do it if you have capital or you have access to capital, and you can take tax credits, or you can do it with no cash. If you have capital and can take the tax credits and take other incentives, 10 to 30% returns on investments are absolutely doable and achievable in all those 3 energy sectors. Second, if you don't have capital or you can't take tax credits for whatever reason, there are third-party financing mechanisms that can let you do that. Take advantage of the tax benefits, have those benefits passed along to you in the form of reduction in cost, and have at least 10% savings in any of those sectors. When you take a look at New York State, what you find is that altogether, all of us spend $61 billion a year on energy. That's $22 billion on electricity, $25 billion on transportation fuel, and $14 billion a year on heating our buildings. There's a law. So whether you want to do this now or not, it's a great time to do it. But the reality is, over the next 10 to 20 years, we're all going to have to do it. The climate law that got passed in 2019 is putting in place mechanisms that's going to make us all get there, whether we want to or not. And there's a lot of reasons why we do want to, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. When you take a look at what the climate law does, it basically says that by 2030, all the greenhouse gases from all sectors have to be reduced by 40%, and that's an 85% reduction by 2050. And how are we going to do that? We're going to increase the amount of renewables from about 25% of the electricity grid today to 70% within the next 10 years and 100% by 2040. The Department of Environmental Conservation has documented where all the greenhouse gases come from, and these are all the different sectors and all the different percentages. Where do we produce greenhouse gases? And the fascinating thing is that 86% of the greenhouse gases in New York State come from energy. 20% from electricity, 34% from transportation, 32% from heating our buildings. So what you need to know is by 2030, you're going to have to reduce your greenhouse gases by 40% for your electricity, heating and cooling, and vehicle fuels, one way or another. If you start doing it today, you can save money, or there's actually ways you can make money on various different pieces that Doug's going to talk about, amongst other things, that has least impact on your business, maximizes incentives and gets you cash grants or tax credits, and gives you excellent value on products, on manufacturers, on installers. And again, you could do it with outstanding returns on your investment, or you could do it with no cash down and save money from day one. New York State has a clean energy fund. It's $5.6 billion worth of incentives. And each of these sectors has a lot of money specifically for building owners, for folks that own buildings, and with solar, over $500 million worth of solar incentives, another $600 million in incentives for transportation and going to electric vehicles and such. And then another almost $500 million as well in heating and cooling technologies. And Donovan's going to talk to you about that in a bit. The fascinating thing, Southern California Edison took a look. Okay, so we got to move our society to zero carbon for all the reasons. When we do that, what does it mean? Well, you have to cleanly electrify everything. So you have to first clean up the electric grid. Second, you have to use that electricity to create clean transportation. And third, you have to use that electricity to create clean heating and cooling for our buildings as well. And when you do that, and you do a few other things, the fascinating thing is that we all save money. We can reduce our total out-of-pocket cost by a third. I'm with Earthkind Energy for 30 years. I've been working to represent customers through various different clean energy processes. I've done efficiency work with folks like the World Bank to reduce their energy consumption. I've done solar projects with folks like Oakwood Friends School, who again couldn't take the tax credits, but with no out-of-pocket cost, we're able to do a solar project that saved them money. Today, you can do those kinds of solar projects and actually lease your roof potentially, or lease your parking lots, get money and get paid to do solar, save on your energy bill, and also get a lease payment for that use of that ground. And Doug's going to talk to you about that. I've also worked with folks on clean transportation, and the fascinating thing is that when you take a look at electric vehicles now, there's over 40 different electric vehicles that are incentivized by New York State. So no matter what kind of car you drive, which manufacturer you like, every one of them has an electric vehicle these days. And when you compare the cost of electricity, even in Con Ed territory, versus gas, it's equivalent to $1 a gallon in gasoline. So even with the lower prices that we have today, you can save money on gas. And if you don't have much of a fleet yourself and don't want to do it or can't do it for your own vehicles, if you have tenants and whoever else coming into your parking lot, you could put in charging stations and make some money doing that as well. And then last but not least, on the heating and cooling side, there's a moratorium, as you guys well know, in Con Ed territory in Westchester. And there are $250 million worth of incentives that you guys can access to get off oil and save money from day one. Or if you're trying to do something new and deal with gas, to be able to do clean alternatives that will save you a pile of money. These are some of the folks that I've worked with over the years. Every one of them had a little different situation. I've worked with big clients, small clients, institutions, authorities, municipalities, businesses, all different kinds of folks. Everyone has their own different needs, their own different energy profile with what they've done already, what they want to do, what their goals are, what their costs are. But every single one of you has the opportunity, if you take a look at it, to save 10 to 30% on every one of those energy sectors. And this is me. This is how you contact me. And one of the things we're doing is anybody that's BRI member, give us a call. We'll give you a free half hour of conversation. We'll find out where you're at. We'll talk to you about what your needs are, maybe what you can do, and steer you in the right direction, see if we might be able to help you a bit. Thank you very much.